Let's get right into it. Number 1, brain freezes. Imagine this, you're just trying to enjoy a peaceful moment with a milkshake, and suddenly your head decides to simulate what being hit with Thor's hammer feels like. That's a brain freeze technically called sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia, which is a fancy way of saying your brain forgot how to handle ice cream. Here's the science: when something cold hits the roof of your mouth, the blood vessels there rapidly constrict, then immediately dilate. This little vascular spasm sends pain signals to your forehead like some kind of confused landlord evicting your frontal lobe. Evolution clearly didn't prepare us for Dairy Queen. The irony: your brain isn't even freezing, it's just throwing a hissy fit because it can't figure out how to balance temperature regulation in your mouth. Basically, the human body has all the sophistication of a toddler dropping to the floor in the cereal aisle. The worst part: there's no noble survival explanation for this one. Brain freeze doesn't protect you, doesn't warn you of danger, it's just your nervous system cosplaying as a sadistic roommate. Scientists don't even know why the pain radiates to the forehead, which is like your house fire setting off the neighbor's smoke alarm. The only cure: pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth until the body's little prank runs out of steam. In other words, the fix is just as dumb as the glitch. Number 2, hiccups. Hiccups are proof that the body occasionally lets Windows 95 run its diaphragm. 1 second, you're sipping water like a normal person, and the next hic you're auditioning for the world's worst percussion instrument. What actually happens is your diaphragm spasms involuntarily, causing your vocal cords to slam shut, which makes that ridiculous squeak sound. It's your body's way of saying, surprise breathing is optional today. Scientists think hiccups might be some leftover evolutionary quirk from amphibians, like frogs and tadpoles. That's right, you're carrying around an ancient coding error from the time when breathing air was still a beta test. It's like your body still thinks it might need to gulp water through gills at any moment. Even better, there's no reliable cure. Everyone swears by their grandma's hack: hold your breath, scare yourself, drink water upside down, but really, all of those fixes are just you trying to trick your diaphragm into doing its job again. Sometimes it works, sometimes you just look like an idiot choking on the air. The fact that these can last for days in rare cases makes them basically a poltergeist haunting your chest. Punchline hiccups aren't cute. They're your body briefly glitching like a buffering YouTube video, except the content is you. Number 3, sneezes. A sneeze is basically your body hitting the reset button because a dust particle had the audacity to exist. Here's how it goes. Some irritant tickles the lining of your nose. Your brain says, deploy the cannons, and suddenly you're launching mucus confetti at 100 miles per hour. That's faster than most sports cars, which means you're technically a biological machine gun for germs. Congratulations. The kicker is that sneezing is way too dramatic for what it's fixing. Half the time it's not even dust, it's sunlight. Yeah, about 20–30% of people sneeze when exposed to bright light. It's called the photic sneeze reflex, which is your optic nerve accidentally sending a launch missile signal to your nose. Basically, the wiring diagram got coffee spilled on it. What's funnier is how socially illegal sneezing feels now. In the age of pandemics, one little achoo in public and suddenly the whole cafe looks at you like you just announced your patient zero. Sneezing used to be harmless, even cute. Now it's basically biological terrorism with extra side-eye. Punchline sneezes are your body saying system error in the loudest, wettest way possible. Number 4, yawns. Yawning is the body's way of proving that evolution sometimes just forgot to finish the assignment. You're sitting there, minding your business, when suddenly your jaw unhinges like a python trying to swallow a watermelon. Scientists still don't even agree why we do it. Some say it's to bring more oxygen to the brain, others say it's a way to cool your brain down when it's overheated, and a few just shrug and go, it's contagious. Isn't that neat? Contagious yawning is the weirdest part. You see someone yawn, and suddenly your body goes, hey, I'll do that too, as if empathy requires you to simulate being bored. Imagine if empathy worked that way in other areas. Someone stubs their toe, and instantly you collapse in pain, screaming about IKEA furniture. Yawning also happens when you're nervous. Ever seen someone yawn before a big speech or in the middle of a job interview? That's not because they're bored, it's because their brain is overheating like a PlayStation 2 trying to run Skyrim. Basically, your body's crisis response sometimes looks indistinguishable from a baby about to nap. Punchline yawns are just the body's version of loading screen, except no one knows what game it's booting. Number 5, goosebumps. You know that spooky shiver when you're cold or creeped out, and suddenly your skin looks like a plucked chicken. Goosebumps are the physical equivalent of your body pulling out VHS tapes in the age of streaming. Back when we were hairy little cave gremlins, goosebumps would puff up our fur to make us look bigger to predators, or trap heat to keep us warm. Now, you just look like you lost a fight with a static charge blanket. Even worse, they can be triggered by music. Yes, your body hears a dramatic chord progression and decides it's time to make your arm hairs stand like soldiers at attention. Like, thanks. Biology. But Beethoven isn't trying to kill me. The real kicker is that goosebumps often show up when you're trying to look cool. Picture this: you're on a date, trying to seem mysterious and confident, but then a chilly breeze hits, and suddenly you're covered in tiny skin zits. Super intimidating, very primal, definitely screams mate with me. Punchline goosebumps are proof your body still thinks you're auditioning for the role of slightly larger squirrel. Number 6, stomach growls. There's hunger, and then there's your stomach announcing it to the entire room like a malfunctioning microphone, officially called borborygmi. Yes, that's a real word, and it sounds just as embarrassing as the noise itself. These rumblings are just your digestive system flexing its pipes to push food or the lack of food through. The problem is the timing. Stomach growls only show up in the most awkward situations, silent classrooms, tense work meetings, or right after you've said, "I already ate, thanks." And they don't sound like simple rumbles either, they're like whale calls echoing out of your abdomen. Basically, your body becomes an aquarium exhibit without your consent. Worse, your stomach also growls when it's completely empty, which is like your body's way of tattling, "Hey everyone, this person hasn't eaten in 6 hours. Let's embarrass them in public. Thanks, internal organs. Glad we're on the same team." Punchline stomach growls are just your digestive system running a soundcheck you never asked for. Number 7, eye floaters. You ever just be living your life, then bam, a weird little transparent blob starts drifting across your vision like a lazy jellyfish? Those are eye floaters, and they're basically microscopic lint in the goo of your eyeball. The gel inside your eye, called the vitreous humor, gets little clumps of protein or debris, and when light hits them, you see them as ghostly shapes. It's like having screensaver icons trapped in your vision forever. The fun part: you can never quite look directly at them. Try chasing one around with your eyes, and it just floats away like, nope, not today. It's like your own personal paranormal activity, except it's just your eyeball being messy. Now, floaters are usually harmless, but they feel like your body is hinting at some big system failure. You see one drifting across your vision, and instantly you think, cool, guess I'm dying. Nope, it's just your ocular goo, aging like milk. The only actual survival purpose floaters serve is making you paranoid enough to book an eye exam. Punchline eye floaters are basically biological pop-up ads you can't click out of. Number 8, cramps. Nothing says peak human design like a random leg cramp at 3 a.m. 1 minute you're asleep, the next you're reenacting an exorcism, clutching your calf like a soccer player trying to draw a red card. Cramps are just involuntary muscle contractions, often triggered by dehydration, nerve misfires, or your body simply deciding it's had enough of you. The worst offenders are Charlie horses, which sound cute but feel like Satan tightening a vice grip around your muscle fibers. Scientists think cramps may be caused by an imbalance of electrolytes, but honestly, it feels more like your body is running on Windows Update and chose the worst possible moment to restart. And let's not forget menstrual cramps, which are a monthly reminder that evolution is both cruel and sexist. Your uterus basically contracts like it's auditioning for American Ninja Warrior, shredding your abdominal piece in the process. Punchline cramps are your body's way of saying, surprise you live in a meat machine that occasionally rage quits. Number 9, pins and needles. Sit wrong for 2 minutes, and suddenly your foot thinks it's being electrocuted. That tingling pins and needles sensation is actually your nerves throwing a tantrum because blood flow was cut off. Basically, your body's communication cables got squished, and now they're rebooting with static. What's hilarious is how dramatic it feels. It's never just a gentle buzz, it's like your leg is auditioning for a taser commercial. You try to stand up, but now you're hobbling like a newborn giraffe, flailing around while pretending everything's fine. From an evolutionary standpoint, this feature makes no sense. You'd think a survival-oriented body design would prioritize not shutting down your limbs just because you sat cross-legged for too long. Imagine running from a predator and your foot decides, nope, I'm going offline. That's not natural selection, that's natural sabotage. Punchline pins and needles are proof your body was not built by a genius engineer, but by an unpaid intern with access to duct tape. Number 10, burps. Nothing like finishing a nice meal and then sounding like a defective car horn. Burps happen when excess air in your stomach needs an escape route, and instead of taking the scenic path, it blasts straight up your throat like a rude house guest leaving through the fire escape. Technically, it's your body preventing bloating or discomfort, but it's also your digestive system heckling you in surround sound. And sure, some cultures think burping is polite, a little thank you to the chef, but most of the time, it just feels like your body decided to contribute a trumpet solo to the middle of dinner conversation. Bonus points if you try to stifle it, only for the burp to squeak out like an injured clarinet. The comedy is that burping isn't even always from food or soda. Sometimes you just swallow too much air while talking or chewing gum. So essentially, your stomach punishes you for breathing enthusiastically. And don't even get me started on wet burps, which are like the DLC you never asked for: half burp, half acid reflux, 100% regret. Punchline burps are basically your stomach sending push notifications with terrible sound design. Number 11, yawning tears. Here's a bug you didn't know was a bug. Why do your eyes water every time you yawn? It's like your body can't decide whether you're tired or being emotionally devastated. Turns out, when you yawn, the facial muscles around your tear ducts get squeezed, which pushes out tears. So, you're not actually sad, you're just a leaky meat puppet. The real kicker is how misleading it looks. You yawn in public, and suddenly everyone thinks you're crying about being bored. Imagine sitting through a corporate training session, yawning 5 times, and now everyone's like, wow, Karen really lost it over the PowerPoint. Thanks. Tear ducts, you snitches. It doesn't help that fake crying and yawning tears are practically indistinguishable, which means your body just casually handed every toddler on Earth a free acting diploma. No wonder kids can manipulate us so easily. Evolution literally gave them built-in special effects. Punchline yawning tears are your body's version of oops, hit reply all. Number 12, cough reflex overkill. Coughing makes sense when you're choking. What doesn't make sense is how your cough reflex sometimes goes full nuclear launch over a dust speck. You inhale a crumb wrong, and suddenly you're coughing like you've smoked 2 packs a day for 30 years. Everyone around you immediately assumes you're either dying or contagious. And meanwhile, you're just trying to explain, no, it's fine, I'm choking on nothing. Here's the deal, the cough reflex is supposed to protect your airway. But your body, in its infinite wisdom, has the sensitivity settings of a car alarm from the 90s. Half the time, you're not even choking, it's just your throat being overdramatic because a drop of saliva wandered into the wrong pipe. It's extra embarrassing when it happens in quiet places like a lecture hall or movie theatre and you spend 5 minutes hacking into your sleeve while everyone glares at you like you're single-handedly spreading the next plague. Thanks, body. Glad you care so much about safety that you turned me into a human foghorn. Punchline coughing is your body's fire drill system, except it goes off when someone lights a candle. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.